Uh, I'm sorry. So you can make plans to accomplish your own individual goals and or what you want to do as a group. Um, and we'll resolve the business of your treasure here soon in the trophy room. But just to let you, to get you thinking, let you know, in the meta, remember that this is you are in a. Oh no, I've lost both Cipher and there we go. Never mind, you're back, Coffee. Um, this is starting out as rather free form for you all. I will the concept as your DM to you as my friends and players is you all have been through the muck. You've put up with a lot. You've explored. You've made friends. You've lost friends. You have done a lot. Now, technically, you're not epic level yet. That happens at level 17. But you know what? There's not exactly a lot of level 15 people out there in the world. Where you are starting out is the world has either forgotten about you or thinks that you're dead. Because you've been gone for 2 years, a little over 2 years, really, if you think about it. Because it was summertime and now it's fall, so 2.25 or so. You are unknown players in the world starting out, with the exception of Seltur, and Seltur is just herself. She's the ghost ship of Mesotopia. She might be known as an entity, as real as a legend or as a real legend, all right. But no one necessarily knows that you are aboard. So you are in an interesting position where you are powerful individual people, but right now you don't have influence. Therefore, you don't have enemies, but you also don't necessarily have friends. The closest friend you have is Seltur, and depending, that's kind of a, you got to build up your social links if you want to, maybe if you want to rub elbows with her a little bit more, which is something that's possible. If you wanted to do that, to actually, I don't know if you want to try and like re-humanoid-ize her, try and make her a little less like wild or like it's like she's gone feral, like she's a cat that was put out in the wild and just sort of reverted back. Or you can ditch her and go from there. But you are in this sort of, you have a high starting level of power and possible influence, possible wealth, possible all this, but you have to go out and make those connections. Because right now, effectively nothing. Um, and as I told you before in this arc, and for those of you watching out there, if any of you have ever played in a campaign, especially to higher levels, there is this tendency that you are making bigger and bigger decisions in the environment in which you adventure, and that means that there are going to be consequences, but that's going to happen either way. And the beautiful part about all this, and I brought this up to my players, but for any of you, especially if you've been around since the early episodes, the campaign started with a choice. Do you save the old man or do you save the boy? Now the party actually took the third path and tried to not save but help, and help them both to effects that happened over the course of the adventure. And so what you all are going to see as we're beginning this arc that is going to introduce them into epic level and beyond is that we have these very powerful characters who, I don't know, I know as much as you do, audience. I don't know if they're going to want to build an army and just like march across the plains of Fallfire to siege Shonaroth. Maybe they just want to insinuate themselves into royalty, and in all honesty, what if they bargain with Shonaroth? Say, yeah, you keep that part, and like, we'll rule over here. Maybe they just want to, I don't know, go invade Shadowheart. It's sort of like a counter-strike or something. Maybe they want to maybe this becomes more of a game of political strategy, like almost akin to what you'd find more along the lines in Vampire the Masquerade. Or this could simply be, you know what, they want to... they want to effectively, not a character terms, they want to grind levels so that they are just these monolithic demigods of Mesotopia, and they will go where they want. They're going to do what they please. They got the power to back them up. They don't need forces. They don't need to unify or anything, anyone or anything. And they're the ones who are going to go in, go from, zero to ultimate hero here, being these unknown forces that are just, I guess, talked about in rumor and legend because they operate all by themselves. No militaries know about them or whatever. This is going to be their choices, and honestly, I'm aboard on this just as much as you are, because ultimately where they go and what they do, I don't know. But as their dungeon master, I'm going to be setting the stage for them, and I'm going to give them a chessboard upon which they can put their pieces and make some plans. Now, we do have the... we'll get to planning, but before that, let's finish our old business. And if we're doing this in meeting style, we gotta resolve our old business before we get to new business. At least in any of the the social clubs or whatever I've been in, any of the organizations.
I can confirm that yes, as the treasurer of a business myself, that is how it works.
We've yes, so we've dispensed with the reading of the minutes. And actually, I guess we're going to go into it's old business, but it's also the treasurer's report. And so, treasurer, we have 2 magic items that you are looking to swap out or sell to Seltur, who just so happens to be a collector and an aficionado of magic items. So she's kind of also a mobile item magic shop too.
Yes,
so
two legendary items.
They're legendary?
Yeah, armor +3. It's a +3 chain shirt. Chainmail.
I thought that was just very rare.
Hammer of Thunderbolts. Nope.
Nope, they're legendary.
Nope, they're legendary.
Oh, that's right. Armor starts higher than weapons does. Like a +1 armor is rare. Yeah, that's right.
Everything, like as far as pluses go, everything is uncommon, rare, very rare, in the order of +1, +2, +3, except for armor, which is rare, very rare, legendary.
Yeah.
Yeah, armor's the odd one out because of the fact that it doesn't take up a hand, it doesn't...
Yeah.
You just wear it.
It does kind of break the CR calculations and curve of things, too.
I mean...
None of us can wear that armor either.
And none of us can wear it.
So...
Well, it's not a matter of strength. No one has the proficiencies to do so.
I mean, even if proficiency...
Unless Bright decided to take Tense's transformation, well...
Ooh!
And that's about the only way.
It would give me heavy armor. I can't use it either.
If you take heavily armored as a feat, that would be it.
But the weight...
That or Tense's.
For me.
Yeah.
Because I have a strength heal.
Yeah, so you did... Unfortunately, the +3 is not mithril, so...
No.
All right. Well, this is what I will do here. DJ says that he is going to he's going to go evaluate these items, and we'll come back with a quote from Seltur on what can be provided, and.
Yeah, so Maddie, I have a couple of character things from because since this is the last opportunity,
yes.
I want to take that opportunity. So we had talked about me kind of changing my sub race or something to account for the extended period of time that Bright spent in the underworld, and rather than changing the sub race, I think what I would like to do is change my background.
Oh, sure. What would you like to go to?
From Guild Artisan to Far Traveler.
Okay.
I think that makes sense.
Ooh, yeah.
Far Traveler has a language which I can use for Infernal, so that's good because she definitely would have learned Infernal.
Okay.
And it means I would swap out Persuasion for Perception as a skill. That's the only other change because they both have
Okay.
Insight. And then I get to also have a gaming set.
Okay.
But it'll come with some new like personality traits, but I mean we all know Bright, you know, she won't change that much.
Okay.
But it might mean like a new bond, you know, and some new stuff because Bright's been feeling pretty disconnected from her old homeland. I mean that's kind of a major thing.
Yeah.
So I feel like she's got some work to do in that department, and maybe a change in bond would be appropriate. So I think just a new background probably accommodates everything that I kind of wanted to do with the character.
Yeah, well, and you brought up a good point. Did any of the rest of you change any background stuff? Like,
No.
No,
Norallie?
that-
Let me know.
no,
Let me know things like your bonds, flaws, and everything, because as we discovered, I actually do, care about your characters, and I look at your character sheets. So if there is a new bond and whatnot, I'd like to try and weave that into what's going on here, so that you can continue to develop your character in that direction. And yes, yeah, Norallie, I yes. Mwahaha.
Yes, we've talked about this. Her background, I mean, it's still part of like her real background, but her background is now noble instead of virgin.
That's quite a change.
That's what she. That was what she was before she was an urchin.
Oh.
So she's gone back.
She's kind of gone back. She's
gone
kind of
primal.
Yeah, she's kind of just identifying with her old self more.
And there
That's
are
fair.
reasons why she also went noble too. So it's not a swap just for, like a skill or something like that. There were underlying
I do want to
things.
point out that her last name is not the same as what she had told you previously.
I
don't
noticed that.
Did she?
Her last name that she would have told you was Kilness.
Kilness.
But she
Yeah.
loudly announced that her last name is Amosite.
With Amosite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
I did notice. I did not comment. I had no opportunity. It just didn't work in. You know.
Mm. But,
Yeah. I considered noble as well as folk hero. I thought both of those would also fit, like what Bright had done in Oiho. But folk hero is mechanically epic poop for Bright, and
Yeah.
and noble just didn't feel right. You know, I looked over it and like the fluff text, it just doesn't. I just didn't feel it. So Far Traveler, I think, is the right choice for her.
What
I
is
am-
still a performer.
Yep.
Performer because
Entertainer background, yeah.
he's still proficient with his violin. He still has one. It's just not magical anymore. It's mundane. And that's he lost a lot of shit going through this change.
Well, I will say I haven't changed Cypher's background. I have changed his bond. Because
Okay.
his bond was I work to maintain a university, monastery, library, or scriptorum.
Mm-hmm.
Now his bond is basically his bond is now I work to maintain the true history of the world.
Oh, so you're broadening your horizons. Now, technically, did you go sage background, or is this cloistered scholar?
It is sage.
It is sage?
Sage.
Okay. Oh, nice bread and
Yeah.
butter background. That works. I mean,
But
cloistered
no,
scholar is
basically,
effectively...
I just altered his bond a bit because his horizons have expanded so much. He saw so much in Oiho, on account of that was about as much as he could do with literally see everything and process all that information. And so now he's literally he was doing this as part of his research as a university professor, but now he's now become a proper kind of like chronicler of the ages type deal.
Well, yeah. So instead of working for the institution, you're gonna be, pardon, you're gonna be, I mean, really on your own, and institutions will want to almost work with you for your information. Yeah.
Yep. For all the things that I know, it's like there's this city. It's like, yeah, hell exists. the, basically, I have confirmable evidence for several massive theories on planar cosmology.
Cypher's Tome of Foes, Cypher's
Yeah.
Cypher's Guide to Monsters.
That is actually exactly it. Becoming very similar to Mordenkainen, and to those like Mordenkainen and Tasha and Volo, and well, not so much Xanathar. He's been there once. Doesn't want to go back.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're pretty close. Cypher's Guide to Everything. You know, you went through that phase. You didn't have the pet goldfish, but that was.
I also didn't want to give disintegrations to everyone.
Professor Splatbook.
Yeah, but basically that's where I'm aiming to go in the end with Cypher. Is he's gonna end up being one of those names that if we wanted to write a Splatbook, his name would be on the front. He'd be the star character on the front.
I love it.
Cypher's Guide to Mesomasca.
Yeah,
Professor Splatbook is pretty funny. I do like that.
Just know that you'll never have a hat more pompous and audacious as Volo. I think that's his thing. And...
Oh, no, I'm not gonna try and best Volo in the pompous hat department. That's pretty much impossible. I prefer possible things like traveling as a mortal to hell. And
yeah, we gotta stay reasonable.
And comprehending the heavens and beating up great old ones.
All right, so what I'm gonna do? Oh, before this, just so you know, I owed you some spells, Fluffy, and I think what we'll do is I will if you have a copy of the monster manual and you go to page 202, that's the Lich. I'm just gonna say that the Lich's spell book was made available to you.
Ooh, that's good. Does it have the Lich recipe in it?
It doesn't have the recipe fully, but if you want to pursue lichdom over the course of this epic arc, I will not stop you from doing so. So we'll say that there might be clues and other like drawings and hints that will start you on that path. If you want to travel down it, that is your choice.
The foundation is there.
Yeah,
I think Good Bright probably does not want that path. Evil Bright, yes. Good Bright, not so much. I did have one other question. Do you want me to tell you like the magic items for my character, like the ones that because we got some that we got to pick, right? And then we also drew the ones out of the bags. And do we want to talk about like the ones that we pick, or is that just like I can bring them out when I need them?
Yeah, I'd like to be aware of them. Because maybe there could be a cool interaction. I mean, we had a lot of fun with your Pearl and everything.
Yeah, exactly.
So what did you end up choosing for Bright?
So the crystal ball, of course, came out of the bag.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then for the we got 2 uncommons, a rare and a very rare, and then a common that we can like have as like a power.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So for the common, I'm definitely going to go with the Hat of Wizardry. I think that is the right choice.
Okay.
For the uncommons, it's Bright, so no one's going to be surprised at the Bag of Tricks and the Alchemy Jug.
Oh, very good. Yeah. Man, we need some
Very
mayo on
bright.
this adventure. All right.
And then the Cube of Force and the Staff of Power.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
we knew about those from last week. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Cube of Force is very rare.
No, Cube of Force is rare. Staff of Power is very rare.
Is it?
Did Norallie?
I think so.
Did
Unless
you
I
keep
screwed
that
up.
staff?
No, Norallie has a Staff of the Magi.
Yeah.
My stuff for the bad guys.
Are you giving that
Norallie has
up?
the next one up.
No,
Cube of Force is rare.
I would have manifested with a very rare staff of Thunder and Lightning, but I would probably trade that with Seltur.
Okay, you want to trade that to Seltur? All right, yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, but Staff of Power is very rare. I was thinking, well, it's like, why didn't you pop up in Staff of Magi? Legendary.
Yeah,
Joey.
Magi is legendary. Would have.
Yeah,
Okay.
because Staff of the Magi is pretty
Not
much.
that I'm turning my nose up at the Staff of Power, mind you.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, considering we're going over it, we should state for the audience, because, you know,
Sure.
people watch. So, just for the audience's note, I decided to go with a Rod of the Pact Keeper +3, basically my old rod, but upgraded even further.
Mm-hmm.
A pair of Goggles of Night, a Ring of Spell Storing, because that works really well with Warlocks, and a Headband of Intellect.
Mordecai went with, obviously he's got armor and shield now, so he has a mundane shield, adamantine armor, a cloak of protection, and a staff of healing. That kind of looks like a scythe that's got like crystal points on it.
Ooh. And you're actually working on concept images of the party too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Well, y'all out there heard it. At some point, you'll get to take a peek at a visual, visualization of the party members.
I was looking at the Lich entry. Could you repeat those for me?
Oh yeah. Go Mordecai.
Oh, my look is that Mordecai has now a mundane shield, a set of adamantine half plate.
Ooh, fancy.
He is also sporting a staff of healing, which looks like it's a wooden staff with basically crystal points that make one end of it look like a scythe. And a cloak of protection that's basically a feather mantle.
Oh, so you're all fluffy now.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. So it was the staff. So the staff of healing, which is rare. You've got your adamantine half plate, which is uncommon, and your wow, I'm blanking.
And amulet of the devout.
Amulet of the devout, yeah.
Oh,
which is a +3 amulet of the devout.
And what was your cool little common manifestation?
I'm not sure if I picked one, actually. I know that magically his chest tattoo, which now has feathered wings on it, kind of flutters. I don't know if it does anything just yet.
Cloak of Bellowing? That makes sense for Mordecai. It's literally, as a bonus action, your cloak billows dramatically without the help of any wind. It's pretty great.
No, I don't like that, actually. It's
Really?
not you.
That's fair.
I mean, someone has to take the wand of smiles. Why not you?
I mean, it's basically like being in your own 80s music video at all times.
Yeah.
Yeah, or a shampoo commercial. Just
Mordecai identifies a little less with his entertainer background and more with his current mission. So, like, being all flashy is not important to him anymore.
Oh, that does remind me. I took the powers of the Dreadhelm for my common power, except instead of red, it's purple. So, glowy purple eye boy.
yeah. If any of you in the audience are familiar with almost any meme that's out there, where the character has light up eye, yeah, that's the effect.
I know what I did. Is the shield actually has the moon touch quality?
Oh yeah, that's right.
That where
That's
I
right,
believe
cast
you
off
can
light.
make it cast light. So,
Yeah, that's right. It casts off light. That's right.
like 30 feet bright light and 30 feet dim light.
And it's moonlight that it casts off. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
So the shield is a common magic item in that it's moon touched, but
Yeah.
you know, it sheds light when I need it to. So
We'll say that it sheds light because of you. Like, So if you pick up another shield, to make it a personal power, right? Like this protective thing, it's a manifestation off of you in some way, we can say, if you're fine with that.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. It kind of radiates his radiant soul now.
Yeah.
A little bit.
It also makes super duper sense because of the a link to the name of his wifey, who is dead. Selene being a goddess of the moon in regular mythology, so it makes sense.
I've always kind of thought of Selene's iconography being very sun based and Mordecai's being very moon based, and so I've always kind of paired the two together.
What? I mean, I didn't mean for this to happen, but it's kind of occurred that it's kind of occurred that Mordecai and Selene's story is actually much like the mythical story of Selene and Endymion. From I believe it's Greek mythology. Yeah, Greek mythology.
Something like that.
Yeah, accidentally on purpose. It was accidentally on purpose, and I'm here for it.
10 out of 10.
What I will do then? Let's get into swapping out some treasures or cashing them in. We'll do the treasures bit here. Now
we're trading in.
You are going to be offered on each of these items. You are going to be offered either a cash value, or you'll be given a choice between two alternate items. And also, we've just been rated by Nerdlepedia. Well, welcome to you. Shout out to Nerdlepedia. Thanks for stopping by here as we are...
Many fall in the face of chaos, but not this one. Not today.
I saw what they were doing. That boss sucks. I understand. And I'm sorry that you fell down that pit so many times.
Oh, what was...
It's a link to the past. Legend of Zelda.
Oh, yep, I see it there.
Yeah, biting one of the bosses and just...
Oh, the hamburger?
Yeah, I believe it's the hamburger. It's the hamburger-looking steak thing that likes to knock you around. It's on like a donut. It's on a donut-shaped platform.
Yeah,
and
it knocks out every time.
Yeah, you either get knocked off into the floor below, or if you get knocked into the middle hole, you drop 2 floors. It's brutal. Yeah, your comment up.
What we're going... what's that?
We didn't cover my items.
Oh, wait. I thought you talked about the staff and everything.
I don't talk about the staff.
Yeah.
Oh, so, I'm sorry. Well, shoot. Yeah,
so my
give us a reminder.
Is the Staff of Thunder and Lightning. My rare is Cloak of Displacement, which is also a feather mantle for her. Because Mordecai's story, look. And then my uncommons are Gloves of Thievery and Winged Boots. And
you did go Gloves of Thievery.
Yeah. And for my common ability, Pot of Awakening.
Yep.
So basically...
Pot of Awakening. That's perfect.
30 days to awaken one of my pets when I find them.
Yep. Every month she can awaken a new pet. She can slowly build an army of plants on her own. Beautiful. And you know what? That's so on flavor. It's so on flavor.
It really is.
It's a shame. I almost ended up taking a Cauldron of Rebirth.
I don't know what that does.
It's basically, it's a small cauldron. It can do some other things. You can use it as a scrying, I think for scrying. But if you can speak a command word to make it grow large enough to fit a medium creature in. And if you put a medium creature in there and cover them with 200 pounds of salt, that costs 10 GP, and leave them there for a week, they come back as via the Raise Dead spell. It is literally like
But they're so thirsty.
Yeah.
They're so thirsty, yeah. Well, I mean, Raised Dead does have resurrection sickness. That's why they're so thirsty. It's just an egg full of all rolls, because I'm just so goddamn thirsty.
Well, fortunately, there's a lot of
tastes
vampire
like
ladies roaming around Mesotopia these days, so...
Yeah, there is.
That thirst can be quenched. Oh, I guess hers could too in the process, but yeah.
And she's 9 feet tall.
Yeah, as you do.
Yep.
All right.
9.5 feet tall and proportionate.
For the rolls I'm going to ask from you, if any of you want to use, we didn't before in the percentiles, but for this, if any of you want to use one of your +1s, and I'll go over who has that, who has them, you are welcome to throw one in there. It may not necessarily bump you up into a higher tier, but it would at least it would probably give you another option to consider if you wanted to use those up.
Well, if this is a percentile, if we are rolling a percentile, considering this is a +1 on a D20, would it be a +5 on a D100?
Well, we're not going to be rolling a percentile for this.
Oh, no percentile?
No,
Okay.
This is going to be some custom rolls for how we're going to end up doing this. So if you wanted to use a +1 on this, you can. But it's not going to be a traditional treasure table. I think you'll get what I'm doing when we get into it here.
Yeah.
But let's see. We have 2 for me, and it looks like we have Bright, Cypher, Mordecai. Bright, Norallie.
Gave us one each.
Norallie, Bright, Cypher, Mordecai. So let's see. I have 1.
Wait, how many? Start over. I wasn't keeping track.
Okay. Yep. Oh, do you have a piece of paper? Are you writing this down? I'll go slow down the list then.
Yeah.
Okay. So here, top of the list. Right now, everyone has 0, except now. I have 1. Mordecai has 1. Cypher has 1. Bright has 1. Norallie has 1. I have 1. Norallie has 1. Bright has 1. I have 1. Mordecai has 1. Cypher has 1. And Bright has 1. And that is the list.
We have so many +1s.
So
Yay, Bright.
If any of you want to use a +1, you are welcome to do so. What I will do is I'm gonna for trading in the armor, I'm gonna give you a quote in gold on what you can receive. And if any of you want to use a +1 on this, you can. As what we're gonna do is this is going to be, I want one of you to roll 1d28 and add 28 to it.
I have a question.
Yes.
Any money that we did have going into hell, is that gone? 800 gold that Mordecai had on his person.
I don't...
And 134 platinum.
I mean, we could just remanifest with that.
Well, the
214 gold.
the money doesn't remanifest because it's not a part of you. It's not like an intrinsic part of you. So that money for now is in hell, but I'm sure you'll have plenty of opportunities for more money and soon if you're pursuing it. So while there was money left behind, maybe you can find it again, but I'm sure you'll be able to roll in some pretty good cash here at some point.
Bright was broke. That hasn't changed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Likewise.
Started with nothing and has most of it left.
Mordecai was the party treasurer.
Well, look, we convince the Shadowheart to help us, and they might just write us a blank check.
Yeah. What you decide to negotiate. I mean, if y'all want to be mercenaries for hire, be mercenaries for hire. Go from there. All right. Does anyone want to use a +1 on this roll for the cash offering?
The cash offering? No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Is there an offering for items? Because I don't know that we want to go cash just yet.
Yeah, this would be the cash offering on the +3 armor. And it would equate to 1,000 gold in the chart that I'm using.
Times 1,000 gold.
It would be a guaranteed extra 1,000 gold if you want to use a +1 on this.
Yeah, and so that's just a matter of like, this is what the cash offer is, and then we'll get the item offer next.
I think we'll just roll it. Yeah.
Just roll cash? Okay.
Yeah.
I can roll it then?
Yeah, sure. Professor, 1d28 plus 28.
28 plus 28? 54,000 gold!
Wow.
That was a 26!
Man.
Ooh, yeah.
What did you do when we faded to black with Seltur that she was so generous? Because that actually breaks the limit for the tier that you were going to be getting a quote on.
Now, I am a scientist, and I do research. Very thorough research.
Well, apparently, I guess in the back of my mind, I need to mark this as maybe some level of progress in befriending Seltur has been made. We at least have one social link with her, and
well, I mean, I'm gonna make a Ghostbusters reference here, and I'm not gonna say what it is. Those who get it, get it.
So, Seltur is willing to give you 54,000 gold pieces. Now, I will say this: if you take the cash option, you can have it in any sort of denomination of metal. Or if you want to buy out a portion in gems, she does have a cache of gems.
I mean, honestly, we could literally take 54,000 gold in copper pieces and literally drown Musk of Horns in copper pieces.
They're just making it rain.
Yeah, but it's literally hundreds of thousands of copper coins raining at terminal velocity. What do you think's gonna happen to what's below? That's the equivalent of a bombing run.
We just nuke Mask of Horns, start over.
That's just me playing on a flight of fancy there. Not actually thinking cash in the first. We'll see what the item offer is first.
Oh, Celtic Lady.
No, that's a lot of gold. We've been having money issues this entire game.
Enjoy your spicy salsa. All right.
We would have literally no money issues for the rest of the game.
The next, I'm gonna roll one of the 2 magic item offerings in exchange for the armor. If any of you want to spend a +1, this will add a modifier.
I'll add one.
Okay, so I'm gonna mark off a Mordecai. All right, Mordecai, will you roll? Let's see. Roll a 1d16 plus 1. 8. All right. So now the roll was a 7, and the +1 will take you to 8 here. So in exchange for this armor, DJ comes back and says, after talking with Seltur, she is willing to offer you one of 2 items. So it's technically 2 offerings, but they're going to be split up. It's a cash offering, another type of magic item, and another type of magic item, and like they're 3 separate pools.
Okay.
So cash on platter number 2. You can have either you can have either a potion of cloud giant strength or a potion of flying.
Ooh.
Take the gold.
So
Yeah, take the gold.
Those are.
And then in the third offering, this is going to be another roll if one of you wants to spend, or if you all want to spend more than that.
But yeah, Bright will chip in her +1 because she's got 3.
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's mark off a Bright. This is going to be.
I'll chip in 1 as well, actually.
Oh, all right.
See if we can't make this a real
toasty.
Real toasty.
So far, the cash is looking better because we're gonna need things.
The cash is looking better at the moment, but we'll see what the third offer is.
Okay. Bright.
Oh, I see what you're doing. Yep.
Bright, roll a 1d58. And apparently Selter's feeling a little generous and will offer you a couple things here on this roll, too.
Sorry, just plain old D58?
Yeah. Because you have two ones, it's going to give you a couple options here.
Okay. Bright is trying to figure out what a 58-sided die looks like.
I would leave it to her to invent it, for sure.
Oh, that's not very good.
15? Let's see.
A truncated anti-pentagrammical prism? Look, I'm a geometer. I can figure this stuff out.
That's that Schoner geometry.
Okay.
Yep.
So, the third item, or I guess the third pool of items that Selter felt would be a trade on this, would be either an Afridi bottle, a figurine of wondrous power, an obsidian steed, or a dwarven thrower.
No, that's not very good. We don't want that. No. Well, the Afridi bottle and the obsidian steed are both pretty good.
I mean, I might like the steed. Especially since Mordecai got rid of my dog.
I don't know. Aru, how much do you want the obsidian steed?
I mean, who are you asking?
Obsidian steed.
Let me just pull out my book real quick.
Because is that just like a horse, or what is that?
I believe it's a war horse.
Yeah, it's got similar powers to.
It's a nightmare.
If it is in consideration, I will float the dwarven requirement for the dwarven thrower, if you want it. That's on page 167 of the DMG.
Let's have a look at the Afridi bottle.
Yeah, the Afridi's a reasonably, I think it's like CR 8 or something like that, and it fights with you. But the thing is, it only works with you 20 or 80% of the time. Sometimes it either escapes and runs away, or else attacks you, and it only works 3 times at most anyway. So probably the Obsidian Steed is the better bet if we want to avoid the randomness.
It's a Warhammer. +3 thrown D8 or 2D8 damage, and then weapon flies back to your hand. Yeah, it's a Warhammer though, which is martial weapons, and the only one who can use martial weapons is me.
Yeah.
And I didn't particularly.
I don't have martial weapon proficiency.
And the Afridi bottle's way too random. So yeah, if you would like the Obsidian Steed, Nora-lore, you can take the Obsidian Steed, and I think that would be fine.
I feel like what happens is like they're offering it, and Norallie just grabs the horse without even saying anything. Like you guys are still discussing, and DJ starts putting stuff away, and you're like, "What?" And he's like, "She already picked."
Yeah, it's a very wise choice there, Norallie. And he's going to go into the tale about how this was found. This was found amongst a treasure cache of Shadowheart. and that this, much like the other, the Hound, seems to bear similar properties. So you have some sort of a Shadowhar Obsidian Steed, and we'll have to see what happens.
Now I gotta think of a name for a nightmare.
Norallie will conjure up the Obsidian Steed just to brush it.
She will.
Now, question, is Norallie have a good alignment?
Yeah, she's chaotic good.
Oh boy. Okay. Because there
I
are
know.
things...
10% chance to ignore her.
Well, that's not all.
That's what I know. That's the main one though. That's the one she cares about.
If you mount the nightmare while it's ignoring your orders, you and the nightmare are instantly transported to a random location on the plane of Hades where the nightmare reverts to figurine form.
Yeah,
Or
she's gonna do that, and then come back out with both the Obsidian Steed and Fenry somehow, and you guys will have no clue what happened.
Had to go back for Fenry. Can't believe you left him behind.
Yeah. All right. So the other items, including that cash offer, are taken away. And DJ brings out the offerings for the other legendary item that you have. Do any of you want to spend money for this cash roll? Because this is going to be a separate one, as Seltur's evaluating it separately.
No.
Wait, what are we trading in?
+1s for the cash roll for the Hammer of Thunderbolts.
I'll spend one. I had 3. I'll spend another one.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
So,
go ahead and take a roll.
Norallie, roll 1d28 plus 29.
Is this for the staff?
No, this is for the Hammer of Thunderbolts. This is for the second legendary item we picked up that we're trading in.
What was the roll again?
1d28 plus 29.
Yes.
1d28 plus 29.
Ooh,
51.
Oh, man.
not a bad roll.
Still beats, yeah, because the selling price for legendary items is like $50k plus.
Now, well, Norallie, I know you're really sleepy when Seltur's trying to talk to you, but maybe she's trying to like convince you or establish a rapport. Because I mean, DJ's nice and all, but
take the money.
There's I don't know, like maybe there's a deep down affection. Like, don't let them tie you to a kite and fly you behind the ship. Even though I think that'd be a cool idea, says the DM.
No.
All right. So the offer on this is 51,000 monetary units dispensed in some treasure parcel of your preference of metals and gems, and now we will roll once more. If any of you want to spend a +1 for treasure pool 1,
I will.
Okay.
Alright, so this is for potions. For consumable items.
If we get anything good.
Anyone else?
No. I'll save my other one for the big pool.
Okay. Roll a d16 plus 1.
Oh, 1d16 plus 1.
Oh, yeah, whoever. Yeah. All right.
It's a 15. That's actually really good.
Okay. What is brought out before you are two scrolls. And ultimately it's going to be, if you select this, I'll let it be, party's choice. But you can take either a 6th level spell scroll or a 7th level spell scroll of your choice.
Okay.
Good offering.
That's not a bad offering because that can be turned into a new spell book, right?
Yeah, given it.
Although I just got a huge bounty of spells, so I'm feeling sated.
I'm sated.
Yeah, pretty flush on spells. Now for this next pool, I will be spending my other +1 for the third pool here.
Okay.
Does anyone want to join me? Because this is for the.
I'm saving mine for the
The
trade
staff.
of my staff.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what then,
Do you want to
Professor.
join me for one, Brett?
Yeah, if Bright wants to.
Yeah, okay, I'll spend my third one. That's fine.
Okay.
All right.
Roll a.
out.
What was that? It was a 58-sided die.
1d58.
Yep, 1d58. Oh, that's a 1.
What?
Okay.
How delightful.
Oh. All right, this is
That might not be
Treasure-
so bad.
okay.
Treasure crit fail.
Well, maybe. This is going to be an amulet of the plains, which could be interesting. I would need to contemplate on that one a little bit because of how things have been, but I am open-minded to try and work with it. You could have an animated shield, or you could have a scimitar of speed.
That animated shield is.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That sounds
That's
good.
pretty. That's pretty good.
Amulet of the Plains is pretty awesome anyway, but I can cast that spell now. So
Yeah,
I don't know that we really need it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
it is part of the list. Yeah. I know it was a consideration at the beginning that we wouldn't have that stuff, but I think now that we've done enough played a jumping.
Well,
That we
Maddie
haven't-
gave it to me as a freebie, so he must have something in mind for it.
I-
I'll talk to him in the off
can-
week about what
Yeah,
to do.
I can work with it to a degree. Yeah, it's not
So
off
we
the
can-
table. It just won't be generic as presented D&D. With I'll get into it. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. If you want to take it, I will work with you on it.
Well, let's have a look at the animated shield. Scimitar of Speed doesn't really benefit anyone but me. So, while Scimitar of Speed's pretty cool, I need my bonus action for other things. Animated shield. It's up the next page.
It's like a command word, and it frees up a hand, so you can dual wield and have a shield.
Yeah.
Mordecai, you
And
want
you can-
a shield that flies on black wings next to you?
Yeah, I think. Yeah. Animated shield for Mordecai. Or, I mean, I could use it because, I could then, instead of going packed longsword, I can go packed greatsword.
Ooh, yeah.
Play.
A lot of us can use it because it doesn't require shield proficiency.
No,
That's what's cool about it. But it does require attunement, and I'm out of slots, so Bright could not
I'm
use
out
it.
of slots, too.
Hmm.
I am also out of slots.
Wait, do I have
I
slots?
forgot about that. I forgot about that.
You can only equip 3 attuned items
3.
at one time.
Yeah, I'm out of
I
slots.
put out of this up. Then you can go up to 6.
Okay,
Because I'm out of it.
so the party has consulted and found none of these items to our taste.
gonna
Although
take
the
the cash?
animated shield is pretty awesome.
Animated shield.
It is
But-
pretty awesome, but I think I need my staff more.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
I
alright.
need my cloak more.
Here's what I'm thinking then. What I'm gonna do, very quickly, is I am going to open... I'm gonna open a special place called Donjon. And I'm gonna take a very quick look at some spells. Because if that's valuable, we'll do that.
Spell
If
scrolls that can save us spell slots, that would be fantastic too.
6/7 wizard. So, it'll be a matter of, is there any spell of 6th or 7th that you would really like, Fluffy, or Bright?
I am not sure. It might actually behoove us to.
It might
I don't
actually
know.
behoove it to get a scroll from the cleric list that I
was-
could use.
I was thinking that maybe a cleric scroll or maybe a druid scroll that Norallie could use.
Yep.
Because because you have the ability to cast druid spells, right? You could use the druid scroll, but like level 7 is way above our weight class in druid magic, so it might be good to take something like that we could use in a pinch.
Just look at the druid list.
Firestorm, Temple of the Gods, Whirlwind,
Reincarnate, although I don't know if Maddie would let us use that.
That's a 5th level spell. Resurrection is 7.
That's
Reincarnate. I'm more open-minded to, especially because you all have been through a lot of things. However, obviously you don't get the choice of what you come back as, because that's spin the wheel. And
yeah.
I'm thinking if we're gonna do a 7th
gravity.
Not reverse gravity.
Reverse gravity puts in work. Come on now.
Don't trust Norallie with reverse gravity. To be fair, I don't trust the professor with reverse gravity either.
Reverse gravity and butterflies fill the entire 100-foot radius.
So they're in my mouth. They're everywhere.
I'm thinking.
And
if
all the butterflies are flying upside down.
If I were to pick a spell, Temple of the Gods would be it, because that's Magnificent Mansion, but the cleric list.
Yeah, that's a possibility, but not very. I mean, you can just pray for that, right? Why would we take that as a spell?
I would have to prepare it, but yeah.
Yeah, that's not a good use of a scroll. I don't think it should be something that we otherwise can't get. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So cleric has access to all the cleric spells. So we're looking at druid, really.
Yeah.
Move earth. Whirlwind. Mirage Arcane.
Oh, that's fun.
Wind walk, I guess. Cleric escape prepare sunbeam, so that's not a problem.
Yeah.
Move earth. There's not a lot in terms of the scrolls, really.
Well, move earth could be interesting if you want to do some like base building and stuff. That is an option for you in this arc if you want to. You're getting a lot of money if you want like a castle or a fort or something. You want to start like actually like building. Get infrastructure on the map. I'm open to you starting that up.
Well,
just like old school D&D, we're now high level. We have to build bases and not play the game anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We've come this far to stop playing.
So move earth. Choose an area of terrain no larger than 40 feet on a side within range. You can reshape dirt, sand, or clay in the area in any manner you choose for the duration. You can raise or lower the area's elevation, create or fill in a trench, erect or flatten a wall, or form a pillar. The extent of any such changes can't exceed half the area's largest dimension. So if you affect a 40-foot square, you can create a pillar up to 20 feet high, raise or lower the square's elevation up to 20 feet, dig a trench up to 20 feet deep, and so on. It takes 10 minutes to complete these. At the end of every 10 minutes, you could choose a new area to do this.
Yeah, move earth doesn't seem like something we would maybe spend a scroll on.
It also can't. It also can't manipulate stone in any way.
Well, I'm thinking that since it is like a scroll, maybe Maddie would let us use it as like a plot item. Because my guess is someday we're going to end up at Fallfire, and we're going to probably need to excavate or something in some capacity that exceeds what Bright could do with Mold Earth. So maybe we could use the scroll for that. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah, and you could actually put it in your book. Because it is also a wizard spell. So you could actually put it... It's a druid spell, a sorcerer spell, and a wizard spell.
Oh, it's also a wizard spell?
Yep, so you could all actually put it into your book and just know it.
I was hoping for something
don't forget, too, like, if Mordecai as a cleric wants, like, an emergency, like, Band-Aid, if you want it to be a level 7 cure wounds, you just slap that scroll on that injury, and...
It can be an upcast as well.
Yeah. The 6th level spell on the cleric list would be heal, which is far more effective than cure wounds at level 6.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I was hoping for something that wasn't like a wizard spell. I was hoping for something that was like cool and druidly unique, so that Norallie would have a cool power that she could use to save our asses. Because that's what Norallie's all about.
It just isn't anything on those levels that
What about the sorcerer
wizards
list?
don't already
do
know.
that too. You could do that too.
Let's have a look at the sorcerer list for 6th and 7th.
Although I
Because
think there's
sorcerer-
probably not much on the sorcerer list at that level that's not also on wizard list.
Yeah, because sorcerers also pick from a list rather than have a spell book or prepared spells.
But that's a good point. Is that Norallie only has so many spells that she knows. So
Yeah.
there's
My
something-
current 6 and 7s are Chain Lightning, Crown of Stars, and Teleport.
Okay, Chain Lightning, Crown of Stars, Teleport. So for sorcerer, yeah, a lot of the stuff is sorcerer wizard or sorcerer cleric. Like Firestorm is sorcerer cleric druid. But Mordecai can prepare it. There's not really anything that's specifically sorcerer only at these levels.
You know, you want a
Level
level
7.
7 holy or whatever the weapon that clerics get.
Spiritual weapon.
It's spiritual, a level 7 spiritual weapon. Just
I
drop
might as
that on
well
the
just do
battlefield.
that myself. I mean, like that's
But do you want to spend
Yeah.
a level 7 slot on it, or do you want a piece of
You'd
paper to do
spend
it
it-
for you?
not really.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
I'll probably not be spending a whole lot of
Well,
time doing it.
I think we should just pick something cool then, because it doesn't sound like we're going to get anything beneficial out of like stretching our classes. So
Mhm.
Honestly, if we had access to level 8 spells, I'd be like, hey, Bright, here's a scroll of Mighty Fortress, learn it, and we'll cast it in a spot every day for a year and make it permanent.
Whatever.
You
Okay,
might have a
real
year, you
quick,
might
what
not.
about heal?
Heal's a good one.
Because if Mordecai gets knocked out for any reason, I could be a backup healer.
that's a good point. That's a good point. Okay, let's do that.
Let's do a heal.
Yeah, so I'm gonna take a sixth level spell scroll because it doesn't heal doesn't benefit from any upcasting.
Okay.
Right. Yeah,
I don't
that's
think-
the 6th level. And
All right,
the 7th,
6th level spell scroll.
So you take the
of
big
heal.
band-aid off of the platter that was offered, and
You can upcast it.
Oh, can you?
It's when you cast a spell using spell slot of 7th or higher, the amount of healing
Oh.
increases by 10.
Oh, that will get the 7th
Yeah,
level one.
let's
So
let's
it's
take
80 points.
it to level 7. Why not?
okay.
So basically, we have an 80 HP band-aid.
Yeah, an 80 HP band-aid. You just slap it in someone's face and you'll heal.
yeah.
That
And that'll
heals
be
me pretty
Norallie.
much.
Yeah, that's a hell of a slap patch right there.
We'll keep that in Norallie's pocket, right?
Yep.
You can cast it.
Yeah, because it's druid.
And Norallie, you were giving up your staff next. What
Yep.
rarity was that? Rare?
That was a very rare.
That was a very rare.
Very
okay.
rare.
All right. So I would like you. Does anyone want to spend a +1 for the cash option on this item?
I don't have
I'm
any
fresh
left.
out.
Okay.
I am
I
out.
am-
Oh yeah, it actually looks
I'm
like
also out.
it's just
It's just Norallie left.
Norallie.
Just
It's
me.
me and you.
I got 2 points.
Do
I'm
you want to
saving them
spend
for
one
the
on
items,
this?
though.
Oh, you're saving for the
No,
items.
I'm gonna use them both on the items.
Okay.
Which I think is a fair go with that.
All right. I would like you to roll. Roll 1d6 for me.
1d.
Ooh, wow, Seltur does. Oh, she's taking a shine to
She
you.
loves Norallie.
Wow, man, favoritism.
She's just a cute little bundle of wonderfulness. We
yeah.
love Norallie.
Not
Yeah.
not even a horrible monster wants to rip you off. All right.
Plus, Seltur's just in a really good mood lately for some reason.
You're welcome. Sacrifice I make in the name of science.
Yeah. Offered in exchange for your staff, Seltur will give you 6,000 gold or an equivalent in mixed metals and gems. We are going to go to pool number 2. And do you want to spend one on this pool?
Yes.
All right. So I would like you to roll 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1d25 plus 1. 3.
Oh, wow.
All right. So she will offer you in exchange pool 1. Well, I guess it would technically be 2 because 1 was the cash. Either a bead of force or a chime of opening.
Ooh.
I think bead of force is better.
Neither of those require attunement.
Bead of force. That creates the little bubble, right? The bubble of like basically it's a wall of force, but it's a bubble.
Yeah, it's like a one-use wall of force. And you can also like hamster ball it, so that's good.
Yeah,
You can.
hamster ball.
Chime of opening, I don't think is really better than the knock spell, which I can learn.
But you have.
So I mean, I've got that in my spellbook already. So.
Oh yeah. If you've got knock, then you've got knock.
The only thing is I don't always prepare it, but I have to say there's really only been like 1 or 2 times where I've even wanted it. So maybe in this game, chime of opening may not be the right item.
Yeah.
I mean, if you all wanted to go more on like treasure adventures and go seeking, out of the way places or treasure chests, to amass.
But honestly,
but we don't have any reason to do that because there's not been hinted any kind of artifacts that would help us.
It's not so much that though at the moment. It's also more of a fact that we could just turn this game into a game of Lords of Waterdeep and hire people to do that for us.
But I also have gloves of thieving, so I can just, unlock things myself.
Also true. Also true.
So, I forgot to ask you about those. Do you want those to turn invisible on your hands, or are you actually wearing, do they look a certain way on your hands?
They look like the glove she already wears.
Okay, that works.
Yeah, I can see them, being, super, delicate, made of, really fine silk. And, when someone touches them, they're, really smooth and slippery.
You have very slimy hands.
You know how some people just really have those, cold, clammy hands? Yeah.
Yeah.
They're slippery because then you drop the lockpick. Just smooth. It's nice and soft and smooth.
So now we've got the big item pool. So what's the dice roll on that? And I know you're probably going to be throwing a +1.
So do we get to roll for the beads of force? Because usually they come in a string.
Oh, yeah. I'll look at that in 1 second. You're spending your +1 on this.
Mm-hmm.
Roll 1d86 +1, and then the bead of force.
It's a d4 +4.
Okay. So go ahead, Bright. Go ahead and roll the d4 +4 for how many beads are there. And Norallie, we have a 59. Oh wow, man!
It's a max.
Seltur, what are you doing? I'm going to talk to the microphone because she's nebulously up there, always listening. Seltur, what is going on here? All right, well, all right. So there's 8 beads of force. You're getting a full necklace of them here, and then oh boy, I'm gonna have to count. I didn't put a little bookmark here. Oh yeah, so that one was 50. Okay. You are going to be offered either a ring of X-ray vision, it does require attunement, or a robe of eyes, which also requires attunement.
Which could be helpful in turning Mordecai into more perceptive boy.
Yeah.
By switching robes from Cloak of Protection to the Robe of Eyes.
Yeah, I would probably rather have the X-ray vision than the Robe of Eyes, although Robe of Eyes is good, as you know, Coffee.
That I also very well know.
X-ray vision, what does that do? Is that ethereal plane?
No, you can it's just like X-ray vision. You can see through stuff.
Oh.
I don't think it gives you see invisibility or see ethereal, but I could look it up.
So while wearing this ring, you can use an action to speak the command word. When you do so, you can see into and through solid matter for 1 minute. The vision has a radius of 30 feet. To use, solid objects within the radius appear transparent and don't prevent light from passing through them. The vision can penetrate 1 foot of stone, 1 inch of common metal, or up to 3 feet of wood or dirt. Thicker substances block the vision, as does a thin sheet of lead. Whenever you use the ring again before taking a long rest, you must succeed on a DC 15 con save or gain 1 level of exhaustion.
I do like exhaustion. Yeah, it's just like Superman vision. Oh, the lead, it's made of lead. It's always made of lead.
Robe of Eyes. While you wear the robe, you gain the following benefits. The robe lets you see in all directions, and you have advantage on perception checks that rely on sight. You have dark vision to a range of 120. You can see invisible creatures and objects as well as see into the ethereal plane out to a range of 120 feet. The eyes of the robe can't be closed or averted. Although you can close and avert your own eyes, you would never consider to be doing so while wearing this robe. A light spell cast of the robe or a daylight spell cast within 5 feet of the robe causes you to be blinded for 1 minute. At the end of each of your turns, you may make a Constitution save, DC 11 for light or DC 15 for daylight, ending the blindness on a success. So
you're always watching everywhere.
Cool, but Robe of Eyes is even better, just for the fact of seeing invisible crap, seeing ethereal stuff.
I think in this game I'd rather see 3 things.
Yeah, see through wall stuff is very useful.
You don't want to look like a multi-eyed aberration walking across the plains? Come on.
I think we did that already.
Been there, done that.
That or a plate of the Beads of Force, because there's 8 of them.
The Beads of Force sound really
Beads
nice.
of Force is good. And there's no achievement, so there's no sacrifice there.
Yeah. There's no sacrifice. So I'm thinking Beads of Force. Is everyone...
Yeah, I like it.
Norallie, ultimately, that's your personal item that you're giving up.
Yeah.
You're aboard for it? Who's getting them?
I don't know, because I don't think I would use them.
And Bright has her cube.
Yeah, I don't really need them because I do have the cube. But the bead is different from the cube. I mean, they're both force constructs, but they work differently. The cube is more like a shield projector. The beads are more offensive.
What was the monetary amount?
6,000 assorted muns.
For very rare.
Yeah, he's rolling on the one lower. I figured that out.
Honestly, I might just hold on to it.
Because for the legendaries, the I figured out what you were doing. You rolled very rare money. You rolled table D, and you rolled table H. And then for the very rare item, you went one down. You went rare money, table C, and table G. Am I wrong?
Not that it matters.
Not that it matters.
Yes, but no.
Well,
what's your decision on the staff? You have an
it is
offer.
up to you.
Yeah.
If it were me, I would take the Beads of Force because if we're out of slots, what are you going to swap one staff for the other for? The other option maybe. Here's a thought. You could give me the. Oh, it's the Staff of Lightning you're selling, right? Not the Staff of the Magi.
Yeah. Yeah, Staff of the Lightning.
Yeah, I don't know. I would take the Beads of Force because they are a new capability that we don't have and they don't require attunement. But money, or if you want to hang on to it and trade in one of your other things. I mean, do you need 2 staffs? Or would you ever use the Staff of Lightning over the Staff of the Magi? I probably wouldn't.
Do they both require attunement?
I think so.
do.
So you wouldn't really be able to
I mean-
swap in combat.
No. But if for some reason I need to break the Staff of the Magi, I would still have the Staff of Lightning.
Yeah, but the Staff of the Magi also kills us all if you break it.
Yeah, let's not break the
Yeah.
Staff of the Magi, except maybe as the in-game plot resolution.
Yeah. If we have to break the Staff of the Magi, things have gone to shit. To put it lightly, they've gone so far south. We've hit Mexico. We're keeping on going. We've picked up brain parasites in Guadalajara.
When the Tarrasque comes out, I'm going to throw it into its mouth, okay?
Excellent.
But yeah, like the beads of force, if we're gonna trade it, or the money is what I would say, because we could
Yeah.
always use
Yeah,
gems
money's
and
always a
things
thing.
for gems and things for our higher cast spells.
Yeah, you need
Yeah.
diamond dust, don't you?
I do need diamond dust.
For Revivify, yeah.
No, not revivify for greater restoration, because I think
Oh, for Greater Resto, yeah.
I have diamonds. Well, if I manifest it with the diamonds, the material components I need for revivify, I have them already. Well, no, yes, no, I have diamond dust for greater restoration so far, but I don't have diamonds for revivify yet.
So picking up diamonds might not be such a bad idea.
The gems you'll have to produce, because if we're going along the lines of if you had the components for any spell you could cast, that's all of them. So the money is something you'd have to acquire, because you have the spells, you swap the classes, but you would have to go out and accumulate it. It's not especially difficult to do given the tier, but you wouldn't have diamonds on you, like no money or the like.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then I need components.
Yeah, I'm gonna need some components too for a few spells. We're getting to that point. So maybe money. It feels sad to take money, but we've only taken the money once, right?
We haven't taken money at all.
No money.
Haven't taken the money
haven't
yet?
taken the money at all.
No.
Yeah.
I
Oh.
took the money on the first one.
Did we? Oh yeah, we did, because that was
Yeah, we
54,000
did.
gold.
Yeah, we took the 54,000 gold.
Okay.
That's why I'm not really interested in the 6,000 when we have 54.
54.
But you could have
Yeah,
60.
so
components.
we'll go for then we'll go for the beads of force, I think, because those are just useful. And the thing is, we can separate them out so we've all got 2 each.
Final say goes to Norallie. It's her item.
I don't know. I don't really want the beads of force. Hold on, let me look at them.
Have you ever come across a spell, Resilient Sphere? I think it's similar to that.
All of Luke's Resilient Spear.
Yeah, they're a lot like Luke's.
I will just point out I would be trading down because I'd be trading a very rare for a rare.
Yes,
Yes.
but that
We
includes
have that's basically what we're in. We're in that.
Yeah.
That's basically our
legendaries down the line, but right now we're trading in the things that we can't use.
While she's looking that up, do any of you have any other items that you wanted to trade in because you got something better from a parcel?
No, but I do want to stake some claim as to how some of that money that we picked is distributed, because I want some diamonds. I want some diamond dust. I'm gonna need some components.
You are the treasurer, and DJ will crush any gems that you need or do any. You let me know, like you figure out how you want that money to be split or stored or shattered, and you will get that value.
If in our private doobly-doo, anybody who needs components that cost money, just let me know and I'll write it down.
Let me see, actually, what I need.
We don't have to spend any character time for it, but having a money amount.
Another question is, you have those chess pieces, those chess sets.
We do.
Do you want to sell those to Seltur, or do you want to keep those yourself? Or Given the budget, she might be able to offer you a magic item if you wanted to trade art in for a magic item choice.
Are you thinking like a rare or just an uncommon?
It's a pretty I mean, this set we got straight from hell, so I imagine it'd be worth quite a bit, especially since it's craftsmanship never seen on the material before. It's super rare on the material plane, and therefore would be worth a lot of money just by virtue of
its existence.
Of its existence, yeah.
Well, it's also a plot item, is the thing. So,
I did indicate that this can be a plot item, yeah. Because they were from hell, but they are of Shadowheart, like
origin.
But the question is, how much more like plot description is necessary for us to do our mission?
Oh, actually, no. I think I see. I think I see. On that one, I don't think it's a matter of plot description. I think it's a matter of, because it's old and Shadowheart, we could use that as a
bargaining
chip. Not only would they might buy it, if it's shown to be in our possession, Cypher can lie through his teeth and say, "This is a family heirloom. I have royal blood in my veins."
Sure. Yeah, my inclination, if we want to like do Shadowheart things, I don't know. To me, they're still the bad guys. But if we want to go and make a deal with the Shadowheart, then I think the chess set could come in handy. So, maybe Seltur, maybe she would wait on the chess set. Who knows? Maybe she would take it later.
You have 3 of them. Yeah, if you want to keep them as a set of 3 that you can.
Yeah, but they come in threes. All these Shadowheart things, with the Emperor and his what was it, brothers or sons or something like that. And, so
his brothers,
or
him and his 2 brothers make 3.
Yeah. So let's keep them together if we can, because we ended up breaking up the set of crowns, and that was a bummer. So.
Yeah, I think that'll fit, especially since we were thinking of going and doing political negotiations with the Shadowheart. This will help our case.
Well, you were thinking of that.
I was thinking of that, but I think getting the people with the airships, I don't know. Getting the people with the airships on side is probably not a bad idea. Just as a tactical play, not even considering Cypher's own inclinations.
I mean, it would have been easier if Mordecai was still a vampire.
It would have been even easier, yeah.
But he was sick of being that. Let's be real.
I may or may not have another Shadowheart animal now.
Yeah, the fact that we're carrying Shadowheart animals, I'm wearing a, albeit modified version of,
we have
old school Shadowheart armor.
Suffice it to say, we have a lot of pull with them. If we
have a lot of pull, and this just helps the case. And I think, is there any chance that we could come back and do trading later based on what we need / don't need, considering, like, I would like to make the push to do some political negotiations, and I'm thinking after that, like, we could do trading as we need until such time as we decide, right now it's time to run the final gamut kind of deal.
So, out of character meta talk, DM to player. While you as individuals or a group don't have any particular clout, Seltur does, as she's a known predator of the seas, right? She goes around, she scoops up stuff. She primarily has been attacking Shadowheart, so she is more despised and feared among the Shadowheart. Like, if they see the Repentless, that's identifiable. However, the people of Mesotopia, it's kind of a neutral thing, because really she's been dogging the Shadowheart a lot harder, but she has also raided Mesotopian holdings. Now, as you learned through a little bit of lore through DJ, it just so happened that, the owner of that one bar that she scooped up was actually a real SOB and was doing some shady stuff. So,
Shady's one thing.
It's kind of a wash. So sticking with her, you really have no reputation or I keep saying social links as a fun reference, but you're kind of starting at as a neutral item. Like, she knows you, she's not going to eat you and kill you entirely, maybe just an arm. But and she'll trade with you. If you want to stick with her, you might be able to influence her as a person or as the ship's reputation throughout Mesotopia and or with the Shadowhar. You could use her for transportation or other things. Or if you want to use her for transportation but be kind of incognito about it, maybe she drops you off like a little ways outside of town and you ride in. So the use of the Repentless and Seltur and the development of it is up to you. You can, if you do things that she would find favor for, like if you actually befriend Seltur, then she'll offer you better deals and better items, or at least like a more of a choice if you're going to turn in stuff. Right now, she's, you're downgraded one tier, and it's a take it or leave it. There's no negotiating. But yeah, you can develop her as an asset or as an enemy or whatever you want, along with the rest of what's going on here. So yeah, you will be able to do that, but there's a give and a take. Yeah, you have a safe home. You have like a safe place to sleep, as long as you don't mind Seltur. Transportation that's not intrinsically magical, or at least not like wholly magical, like teleportation, and some other benefits. But you're getting the reputation of the Repentless if it gets attached to you. Does that make sense? Like, so that's like the starting position, and then from there you're going to get to develop yourselves in the world. And again, you want to build a fort. Build a fort and raise an army. Do you want to go and be these like high power, dungeon delvers for ancient secrets, because you've kind of done a lot of that? You want to uncover the ancient mysteries of Mesotopia because maybe there's some cool, powerful stuff there or whatever. You could do that as well, and go in those directions. Right now, the map is going to be open to you. In fact, this might be a good opportunity. And I'm sorry, Darkwolf, you said that you're going to hold off on...
Yeah, I'm going to hold on to this stuff for now.
Well, make a note, though, because that treasure has already been evaluated. That's what she's going to give you, unless something changes.
Unless we influence her to get better reputation, to be like, well, now I'm willing to come to the negotiating table. But yeah, we should actually have a look at what this place is looking like right now.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay.
All right. Throughout this process, as DJ is bringing you offers back and forth, he'll serve you snacks or drinks as you see fit. He's also going to bring in one of his prototype maps of Mesotopia that is chronicling what has happened over the past 2 years that you haven't been here. Obviously, this is not a detailed map, but we can get into detail as you explore, or maybe if there's a particular question you might ask.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now...
So what's all the pink? That's the big question.
Oh, is that the big question? I thought you'd want to go to orange first, but I can cover pink.
No, pink is over my home city.
So...
Obviously the pink is where the nose lived.
Well, kind of. And I'll get into that. Pink is showing the spread of the wild magic flowers. As over the past 2 years, they have blossomed in a lot of other places, including Aslandia. Oh. Aslandia has actually become almost overgrown with plant life, especially plant life that hasn't been known to anyone. But a lot of these flowers have been growing here. All of their seeds and spores and pollens and whatnot have even crossed the mountains into Kandor. There's been a continued spread of flowers here in Mesomasca, and Lacuna has seen it, as well as the interior of the Dragon Graveyard, this valley. has become overgrown with these wild magic flowers. So Western Mesotopia is starting to become, and it's not like a pure blanket of flowers where no one has lawns because it's all flowers. These are broad colors to show you the general area where you're going to be more likely to encounter patches or groves or whatever of these flowers. So wild magic is spreading over Mesotopia, and that is what the pink is indicating. Now that means also that this is still, generally grassland, arid farmland, etc., etc. But there's just a high concentration of these wild magic flowers that have continued to grow across the lands. Moving from there, the orange is representing effectively a new coastline. The level of the ocean and of the sea has dropped, such that if it's not true dry land coastline unaffected by tides, it's still revealed by tides, or it's so tough to sail because the seas can get so shallow or things are exposed that the safe waterways are what's blue. So orange, there might be some naval navigation possible, but for the most part, you can consider it land. Land, very shallow sea.
Is it just shallow because the water levels are dropping, or is there some kind of navigational hazard? I'm confused.
Well, yes, the water level has dropped considerably. And so what that means is, like, here in the mountain, the little parts of the mountains here, you could probably still sail through it, but there's a lot more exposed rock that was underwater. So it's not true land, but it's not navigable. It's not safely navigable. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay.
Just wanted to make sure I understood.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure if there was if it was like a geological effect or if there was some kind of magical effect at play. I just
So is this like a lake now?
Almost. I'll get there.
Lake? That one's
So you have a lot more land, and what this has done, because the sea level has dropped, this has exposed a lot of old shipwrecks from war or storms or just piracy or accidents. So there's a lot of things that have been uncovered because the sea level is dropping. Now, that has also extended some rivers that are going over now where there was maybe a very shallow area. These waters are extended. This area up here has now become brackish. Because the fresh water from this mountain continues to pour into it, but there's not a traditional outlet, but it's not turning fresh water. So there's still a salt source or something that is keeping this water brackish. Here, however, where you were pointing out, Norallie, is where this big mountain lake continues to flow. This is more of it's like a giant tide pool. So this rim of a crater is now exposed because of the lower sea level, but it's not always jutting above the sea level. So water is flowing in and out. So that's why I didn't color that this kind of denim blue brackish that I used up here. But it'll be, it'll fill up and then it floods out, and so it's sort of like with the tides, it's sending this water in mixing and churning and everything. But effectively, on a low tide, the crater itself is, at least the rim of the crater, is fully exposed. The volcano has been more active as a part of that and the lower sea level. There's a lot more land now here, and as you can see, this pass has been cut off because of the lava flow of the volcano and, mixing with the seawater and the seawater itself lowering. In fact, yeah, it's almost solidifying this little archipelago here with the lava flow over time and everything that's happening. Another big note for you all is that the weather pattern has shifted. Traditionally, in Mesotopia, the weather has moved from west to east, and it would buffer against the mountains here, which is what was creating this little swamp and the river that drained down. That's also why you have Mask of Storms over here too, because that's where the weather from the ocean would blow over Mesomasca through this pass, and eventually hit the other areas. As it would come down, that's often why there's a lot of water down here in Ukt, because the storms were blowing in that way. Now the weather has shifted such that it's coming from the northeast, and it's getting colder and colder. In our terms, Mesotopia was more of a traditional Mediterranean setting. So generally warmer. I mean, maybe in the middle of winter, almost like a Texas, right? You might get snow for a little part of winter, at least in northern Mesotopia. And then, Ukt, no, not unless it's magically created. So of course it was. However, cold winds and all the precipitation has been blowing in from the northeast more dominantly. What that has done is really watered the desert, which these mountains had prevented the weather patterns from watering, which is pretty much why it's become a desert. Just a lack of water. Not necessarily a scorching Sahara sort of a thing, but there's just no real water there. Now that there is, whatever plants or seeds or whatever that were lying under the sands have been retaking the sands and wastelands of Aslandia. That has also meant that Fall Fire has become soggy. Not quite swampland, but as open fields, they've become, there's a lot more bogs, there's a lot more streams, there's a lot of little lakes that have formed, and this place has grown very wet. There's some other things that have been happening in Fall Fire, but I'll get to that in just a bit. Ukt is a swamp. A lot of tall trees and whatnot, so it's not like there's not, places to walk over or across. And there's still, patches of dirt and grass here and there, but this has been very waterlogged, and so it's gone from jungle to swamp. Things are cooler, which is why you were feeling the temperatures you did, because you're like, oh, well, it must be, it's approaching winter, and really it's like the end of summer, very early fall. And yet the temperatures are almost wintry at this point, and they're only going to accelerate, you're told by DJ. So things are going to be getting colder more quickly as time passes, because everywhere's been getting colder here as it's been going on. So sea levels dropped. A lot of wrecks or lands or treasures or plants and animals, etc. to explore if you want. Colder months have led to wilder weather, uncertain crops, fishing, and ranching. So there's a lot of supply chain problems. Not necessarily famines that have broken out, because while the farming and all that has been not traditional, unfortunately there have been casualties because of the weather and the war, and especially with Ukt, which was in itself maybe not a bread basket, maybe a banana bread basket for Mesotopia. But there's been a precipitous decline in population due to current events. Each country in Mesotopia has some kind of imperial presence. The most notable is that of Mesomasca. However, there's at least an outpost, trading post, or a port in each country. So there is an imperial presence everywhere. Also, monsters from the sea, air, and land have been roaming around more frequently and are taking on distressing shapes. in an out-of-character sense, I mean, it's D&D. You know, there's always been sort of monsters in the wilds. There's been the sand dogs of Islandia and the purple worms. However, especially in Fallfire and radiating out from there, there have been all kinds of weird, like, an owl and a bear squished together in some sort of monstrous combination of unholy, unnatural fusion. So we're seeing now, getting back into character, you have people in a fantasy realm telling you horrible monsters are roaming the lands. And they're not, they're used to normal monsters that were roaming the lands. But now there's all kinds of terrible creatures you can find about everywhere. As well, DJ was able to catch some rumors that between the nations of Mesotopia, there are plans for an expeditionary force to be sent northeast, and this is going to be called Operation Welcome Mat. And so if they're looking for people to volunteer to join Operation Welcome Mat to go to the northeast on an expeditionary force to find out what's happening with the Shadowhar Empire, so that they don't have to rely on rumors, like to actually go there and explore and whatever. And that would be a multinational voluntary expedition force. And that was actually sponsored by the Healing Words, who are still singing and touring despite the conditions. Roscoe Tealeaf has risen in star power and is known in every country, and is a beloved halfling troubadour. Let's see. A couple other notes, and I'll be happy to review some of this stuff. A lot of these were notes that I was writing down. I sent you a message in our chat about, like, I tried to get stuff down, but today has just been a day. It's been a day of snow and shoveling and still going to the store and still doing a lot of other things. But of all of the 6 nations of Mesotopia, Kandor is the most unaffected by the weather. And the wild magic, is a pain in the butt, but it's a lot more tolerable than, horrible aberrations crawling out of the bogs or any of the other things that are happening. Of note, the government has shifted such that the Dragonborn have risen to ubiquitous positions of power. And the half-orc population, they're not half-orcs. They're not like there's orcs and then there's half-orcs kind of a thing. They're their own people, but whatever. We made this setting, in a generic workshop. The people that would be half-orcs, whatever we'd like to call them. If you want to call them orcs, we can call them orcs.
Did you say generic orc shop?
Yeah. Yeah, well, it was. Well, I mean, it was kind of my first step outside of a normal one, so maybe not so generic. But
Gorguts, get the mech, boy. We're building the trucks.
They have been traditionally relegated to the seas because they're just very good sailors. And now having a lot of displacement by the Dragonborn, which something has got them stirred up. A lot of them have just taken to working along the coastline in legal and illegal harvest and piracy operations. So there is some political turmoil, and there's a big wedge driven between the orcs and the Dragonborns of Kandor. The Imperial presence in that country is actually located, it would be off the map to the northwest. And it's because the Dragonborn are being super aggressive. But there is a Shadowhar, sort of a restocking base that's a last stop for ships that want to follow the coast and continue down by Kandor, but ultimately make their way in and slip into Mesomasca. So it's off the map, but that's where that presence is, and it's sort of the the last stop, or an impromptu, or like an unofficial border, to, Shadowhar territories, to the north of this part of Mesotopia.
So.
Yes?
I'm having thoughts. This is to my fellow players. I'm having thoughts. We're not going to beat Shonaruth without allies and power. We're not. So, here's what I'm thinking. 1. We have the ability, thanks to me, we have the ability to get the Shadowhar on board. 2. Thanks to Mordecai and the fact that the religion of Ouijas is the state religion of Mesomasca, something that the Cabal that rules Mesomasca follows, we could get the Cabal on side.
Yeah, I think so.
3. Bright is one of the few gnomes left.
You're not incorrect.
Yeah, I'm pretty sad about that.
So am I.
Well,
I'm not sad that I'm left. That's actually just fine with me. I'm sad that I'm one of the few.
The last.
Uct has pretty much been consumed. But gnomes will listen to another gnome. Disparate races like that gotta stick together. That's a socioeconomic thing. They've been displaced from their homes. They're living under people who really, for the most part, either don't want them there or are just simply tolerating their presence.
Everybody wants gnomes around.
I think gnomes are good. I like them.
Oh yes, people like gnomes. But the thing is that gnomes don't have a place to call their own anymore. They don't have leaders to call their own anymore. Not like they did when they were living in Uct.
That's true.
Bright can fill a power vacuum. A major power vacuum. Norallie has noble heritage. I forget, where is Norallie from?
Mesomasca.
Again, got the backing of a Mesomascan noble. And then also being one of the oldest families in Fallfire and a renowned professor in my own right. Before touching anything else, I can get the government of Fallfire on our side too.
Who's gonna, we don't have connections to even get to these places or to these people. Do we?
That's what we gotta start doing. We gotta get on the ground, we gotta get the connections. That's our starting point. Shadowhar we can do easily. Find a ship, jump on it, go, we come in peace, take us to your closest base, and work our way northeast from there to the capital. Mesomasca? We have ways to get to Mesomasca. In fact, the few people who know of us are in Mesomasca. That's where 90% of the people who know us are.
That's true.
You know, they...
What if you just narrow it down to the people that don't hate us?
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, you got Miss Quam. Just to start. We've got Miss Quam.
There's one.
We've got the Avalanche family.
That's true.
From Brubby.
But they're not really powerful.
No. They're
just not necessarily.
Community, though.
They're well known in their community. But the thing is, they're warriors. As the world's pretty much gone to crap, what becomes a super important resource? the ability to build fortifications made of stone, and they are foremost stonemasons.
Wouldn't be surprised if they have a booming business by this point.
Next, we have the flower fields.
They hate us.
They hate us.
Yeah, they hate us.
But I think given the state of the world, we might be able to strong-arm them as well. Especially if we have the...
Didn't actually end up doing that.
That seems a little optimistic.
Especially if we have the backing of another Mesomascan noble. Wink, wink, Norallie.
Well, the thing
Yeah.
about that is,
Okay. That's a little optimistic, but we know people who we have. I mean, Mordecai's an established deputy in the Mask of Horns. Jacob's sort of that.
I thought that was a title from him only, and he was.
It was an honor bestowed, not necessarily a legally binding job.
Yeah, it wasn't a legally binding job, but it was an honor. But it was an honor bestowed. But
he was from Green Shield. He had no real power in Mask of Horns.
He had enough that he'd walk in and out of the local constabulary of the major city with little issue, and was able to use their interrogation rooms to hold and interrogate people. That's a lot more power than you might think.
I mean, hold and interrogate is also kind of optimistic when you really think about how it went down.
Yeah.
that is true. But they allowed him access to those facilities. They allowed him access to their men and their information. So I wouldn't discount that, and I would honestly hold that.
But Jade and Jacob are both gone.
They're gone. But think about it. Do you really think do you really think that only Jacob/Jaden at that point was gonna be the one to call you deputy? The others at the constabulary would have heard. If they respected him enough to allow them access to their resources.
I think you're being generous.
That's not being generous. This is the police. This is like literally the city guard we're talking about here.
I mean,
If they did,
this is also assuming they remember him because it was like 2 years ago.
that is true. It was 2 years ago.
this is also assuming that any
That
of
does
the
remind me of
people
that.
have power to get us to the Cabal for an audience. But no one's seen the Cabal, to my knowledge, for a while. They hold their governing meetings in secret, from what I thought.
Yeah, that's why they're a cabal. That's how they work. But we could probably find them. I don't know. I feel like I know the professor likes the Shadowheart and would love to go visit them, but I'm not sure that we.
The enemy of my enemy. At this point, the enemy of my enemy.
They're mostly just my enemy, really. I mean, they're occupying everything, and they're spreading vampires everywhere, which is going to be a real serious problem if it's not already. And I'm not sure that they're really that much of an improvement over Shonarith, honestly. So.
Well, I mean, they were spreading vampirism, but who knows what's happened now?
Yeah, that's actually a real good question. Can we ask DJ what the vampire situation is?
Why, yes.
Yeah, what is the situation? Yeah, what is the situation with Van?
All right, so we will we'll head south on our map tour instead of east, and to go further south is going to take us to Mesomasca. Now, Mesomasca has a little bit more coastline. It almost looks like it has an open mouth now on the mask, with a little peninsula. Mesomasca is rife with Shadowheart. Ships have been coming in. This has been a landing point, and it has been a huge immigration. It started with the fearsome battleships, but you're getting like cargo ships of people that are being brought in and are bringing things. They're bringing wealth, but they're bringing their culture. They're bringing their law in places, and it is being it is becoming occupied by military and non-military alike, by frontiersmen and rough private people. Now it's just sort of farmers and skilled tradespeople and a lot of others. Hardly any dwarves have been seen aboard the ship. Some have, but hardly any dwarves have been seen disembarking from the Shadowheart ships. Tieflings and humans, of course, though.
They're retreating from Shadowheart. They're running away. They're trying to get out.
Mesomasca is.
Hang on. Why do you think that? Like, why do you think they're retreating? Why would they be retreating?
Because Merkury's whole operation was destroyed. Didn't you say that, Professor?
Yes, not only was Mercury's entire operation destroyed, but they were running away anyway because of the fact that they were struggling to heat the city. The winters were getting colder. The reason they were moving south in the first place was because of a matter of survival. But now the little they had is gone.
Do you think this weather change has been the result of Shonaruth?
Mixture of Shonaruth and the lack of Mercury. But the thing is, the winters were getting colder even before we took Mercury out. The reason they were able to heat their cities was because of the Hellfire. Because I showed you the visions of that.
So if the water levels are dropping, there's probably a whole ice age happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which means the Shadowheart are going to be looking to be pretty desperate right about now.
Which kind of looks like on this kind of level, and we don't even know what's going on in the rest of the planet. That's just this region.
Yeah, exactly. So,
pro tip, you can always upset your DM by wondering what's going on the other side of the planet.
Yeah. So, here's what my thought is.
That's just our region, yeah.
They're fighting all of the Shonaruth stuff. We've seen that with the Sky Shadow Leviathan. Actively, we have seen that. As such, as I said,
we can do first against these kinds of things.
Yeah. Yep, but the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
We allow them to occupy.
We have to.
Maybe we can make a deal. I'm always trying to make a deal, and nobody ever wants to.
Yeah, but... no, that's actually the perfect thing at this point. Bright, make a deal, make compromise.
Yeah.
We help them clear this out, and we'll give them a place to stay.
Oh, I'm thinking quite the opposite. I'm thinking if we help them fix the weather, they agree to go back home.
Yeah, actually, that also fits. That it's like we'll help you. We'll help you fix everything.
Everything that we're saying was ludicrous.
This entire situation is ludicrous. The world is dying.
Yeah, and we wonder why Jade didn't believe. We didn't believe Jade.
Because it's a little late.
Talk.
Was she so crazy?
I'm starting to think less and less these days.
Yes, she was crazy, but that doesn't mean she was wrong.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So, we have things. We need to do the things. We've got the pull. We've got the ability to make pull. We use the pull. Because that's all.
Figure out what it is that we can do against these things first before we can offer it to anyone, though.
Yeah,
it's true. Do we have a plan on how we can reverse the change? Do we have even a lead there? I mean, I feel like we're pretty close to it, but we haven't quite.
Kill Shona.
Well, I know all that, but that's easier said than done.
Yeah, that's like an end goal. You need to make baby steps first.
That's taking on a god, Cypher. A wannabe god.
We took on Merkuri, didn't we? You took on Olam, did you not?
Yeah, but let's be fair, we caught them both on bad days.
And at the cost of our friends.
Yeah, if we could get through this without one of us dying again, that'd be nice.
That's likely not going to happen.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Well, you gotta at least be optimistic about it.
In that, I know. I was there when the investigator was taken, and whilst I wasn't exceptionally close with them, I felt pain too. Remember, I was also at her funeral, Mordecai. And whilst, again, I wasn't close with her, I understood how you felt.
How I still feel.
Yes. But this isn't about us anymore. This is about everyone.
Yes.
All of the gnomes that Shona consumed.
Yeah.
Your homes, and he's looking to you two, Mordecai and Norallie, your homes being taken.
Yeah, I'm kind of used to it at this point.
Yeah.
Mesomasca is the same. We're gonna have to get to that at some point, I guess. And
yeah, it's not the same. It's never gonna be the same. Even after we fix this, nothing is gonna be the same.
That's true.
But we're in the unique position that we can fix this.
Now, you've only visited the salad bar. Would you like me to lay out more, I mean, I almost don't want to because you're already really sad at what's going on, but...
I was just about to, just about to go... We have the ability to fix this. That's what we want, right? Then I'm gonna ask the same question that she asked us in hell. What are we willing to give to ensure that the people of this world can be free?
That's been the question, isn't it?
It's the million gold question.
And Colleen put us up to this. Jade put us up to this. And we lost Casimir as a result. He's fucked off.
Yeah, we didn't really lose him. He kind of just left.
Casimir stayed. Casimir stayed
because I feel different coming out of there.
I can appreciate where you were coming from. It was homey. It was my favorite hell that I've ever lived in. But
it wasn't home.
The world changed him. That place changed him. And he, at the end of the day, he found it to be home. For better or worse. And
still can't believe it. I don't want to believe that he made that of his own choice.
Would you prefer that he was stuck there against his will? Because Mordecai, I must admit, that's quite a monstrous thought.
What do you mean?
That you would prefer his mind dominated and changed that he couldn't make that decision of his own will, rather than him making the choice. That's monstrous.
He was a good man.
He was a hunter. He became the apex predator and found a whole chain full of prey bigger than him. What would you prefer in that if you were in his shoes? To make the decision of your own volition to stay? Or that someone else is pulling the strings and is making the decisions for you?
And I shouldn't have asked any of you to leave.
No. Unfortunately, reality is rarely so agreeable. So I think, in this case, I am of the preference that I would prefer that he decided to stay on his own. Because at the very least, whilst he might be in literal hell, that he's picked his lot. And that whilst he may not necessarily be happy, he's content with his choice. That he consigned himself to a fate of his own design. And it's none of our place to question him on that. And as our dear friend Gary said, he even found himself a girlfriend.
I can't be happy for that.
Why not?
Because I can't be happy. Anyone going to hell and staying there.
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and I should know. I was close to one.
But which eye? I mean, you've got all the different rays. Which one is the beauty one?
Take your pick. Be content, Mordecai. He might not be here anymore, and that might be saddening. But be content in the fact that you didn't have to watch him die in front of you. Be content in the fact that maybe, although he decided to stay in a literal hellscape, that he might have made himself happy. After a long time of searching. Elves live for a long time. Longer than we will. Except, maybe Bright.
Yeah, I keep going back and forth on how many elves I want to outlive. All of them, just some of them, I'm not sure.
Yeah. But be happy for that. It might not be what you might consider to be heaven, but maybe in hell he found his.
I wish him peace anyway.
See? That's the spirit. Just wish him peace. Wish him contentment and be content. Because, if he wants to get out of there, we've been with him for how long? We know how... Yeah, but we know how strong he is. Do you think that if he wanted to get out of that pit, you think he wouldn't claw himself tooth and nail to pull himself out of it if he wanted out? Do you think that power would be beyond him? Because I saw Casimir in combat. I don't think that's beyond him. It wouldn't matter how many demons he had to kill. It wouldn't matter what trials he would overcome. If I learned one thing about that sand elf, he's stubborn. He's probably one of the toughest men I've ever met.
He definitely has the most body modifications.
That is also true, yes. But
Yeah.
be content that he made the decision that he wanted to make. And that if he wants to get out of it, then he will. And if he can't, and our paths eventually cross again, we'll be in the position to release him from that.
I have a sense that they probably will cross again.
Oh, very likely. Nothing is ever so simple that we're not going to face the silver dragon thing that is now Casimir.
What kind of a DM would ever do that? Shut up, you're stupid.
Be content in that, Mordecai. Now, I think we should go and find some places to test some new weapons out on. And after that, we should start selling them to every government who will listen.
Well, I think we're actually in a pretty good place for making wild magic weapons. I mean, with the flowers being so much more common now, and not just growing in the 2 little areas where they used to grow, but growing all over, we could probably
wild magic energy.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking we could probably set up some kind of manufacturing operation if we had to, some kind of harvesting or making wands with wild magic power in them. Actually, that's probably something we should do for ourselves. Just thinking.
Yeah, that's the only thing that's going to work at this point, I think.
Well,
and if we can do that, maybe we can take out some of those trees. At least get a head start on that. It's important for me to.
I have an idea on that. I would like to see if something else works, and I've been working on a little something to see if it does.
I mean, a lot of us have gone through some changes. I don't know what we're capable of anymore.
And, well, this is when Cypher would pull out the scroll he's been working on. It's a massive, table-spanning scroll filled with sacred geometries, and you can see, Mordecai, you being the Tinkerer, that there's also plans to apply this as some kind of an enhancement to a siege weapon to imbue it with the old Chedahari magic that Cypher uses. I want to see if the old Chedahar magic works on these things.
The first thing that you need to test would be to test you against it.
Well, that's what this is meant to do. It's meant to imbue a siege weapon with a little bit of the strength that I possess. Because if this works, then we have a plan for manufacturing not just one type of munition, but 2 types of munition.
That's going to take time, too.
All of this is going to take time, Mordecai, time that we don't have. So instead of talking about it, why don't we just try it?
And I thought I was the impatient one.
Well, it's not a matter of impatience, it's a matter of...
Yeah, the world's on fire.
Time goes tick, tock,
and the world's on fire.
Tock. And the world is... It
fire
could be more on
being...
fire.
Fire being kind of the opposite of what's happening to it. So here's a question: why do we need a siege engine?
I was thinking something a little bit larger scale, so that we could take it down in one hit.
You mean for the airship?
Yeah, I was thinking airship modifications, because imagine if this works. We could sell the design. We could literally sell the designs to the Shadowheart Empire, who have legions of airships,
and
just
who are
waiting
also taking over half the world as we know it.
One step at a time. Yes, they're taking over half the world. Bigger fish, right?
Well, I'll tell you what. If this helps your plans, and what I'll do is I'll speak this last part of our tour, and then we'll take a break. Because I'm wiggling in my seat because I got to get up. I've had a couple cans of soda that I need to take care of here.
Evacuation.
The Shadowheart The Shadowheart naturally have allies within the Mesotopian people, and also a lot of them don't want the Shadowheart here. There was always these rumors of war. There's a lot of tension. And as I mentioned before, the Dragonborn of Kandor are especially aggressive, keeping them to some sort of a northern border, quote-unquote. Now, the primary staging point and occupation, or even annexation, you're probably hearing that word a lot, of Mesomasca, the Shadowheart are here. And this is going to blend in a little bit with the vampire question, too, because the vampires have been... it's now like a publicly known thing. Not that like the masquerade ever really existed, but there just wasn't a lot of them, and it was also kind of a clandestine thing. Well, there's a lot of vampiric activity, especially in the western half of Mesomasca, and it would even seem that among the Shadowheart, not all, but a great number of them are seemingly abiding by the authority of some of them that are not recent converts either. There have been people that have been spotted in very old dress, and just a certain. There seems to be a certain authority that is being swayed over the Shadowheart, or at least among the brass of the Shadowheart, with at least some of these vampires. Now, there's also been a split among the vampires, and to an extent, therefore, with Shadowheart as well. There is a branch, like an old, and we're talking like a fundamentalist branch of Ouijas worshippers, the old magic. The old necromancies that have broken off and moved south, using the Dragon Graveyard as a base of operations. A lot, especially the new vampires, have been converted or have gone along with this group of old world magic using like necromancers. And from the description of this cult, this organization, it matches some symbols that you've actually seen before. You've actually run across some undead with this particular brand of Ouijas on them that was different than the more restricted kind of necromancy. The bled more into the seeking of knowledge than the use or raising or exploitation of the dead. It turned more into the exploration of magic and et cetera, et cetera. And of course, there's a particular someone that that was affiliated with that group. Do you recall it all? You encountered the symbol in a cabin on a rainy day.
Yeah, Raphael.
Yeah.
And we sort of killed him, but I'm sure he's coming back again. He's a tough guy to kill. I've seen it. I mean, we keep trying and it never sticks.
What if he's just undying?
What an interesting choice.
But you have so you actually have a split off that, in I guess more traditional D&D terms, we're talking about the Dragon Graveyard and also a lot of Lacuna. Lacuna has always been a part of Mesotopia, but it was never heavily populated, or it was just it was more of a laid back, everyone was happy to live a simpler life. They were part of Mesotopia, but they were never developed in a huge way. And so there's been a lot of vampirization of the citizenry, and a lot of just open practice of all kinds of necromancy. And as such, while they are brothers and sisters under Ouijas, it's a different take on the faith. That even had differences with the type of necromancy that would be more of an orthodox, like an orthodox necromancy that the Shadowhar still practice. Whereas you have more of a reformed necromancy Ouijas practice in Mesotopia. This is like more of a fundamentalist or a branch-off group, even from there, that have gone. And Lacuna, now continuing to move south, is very much full of Shadowhar neutral to aggressive undead.
Are there also conservative necromancers?
Probably, there's a spectrum of them, I'm sure. Yeah, that's because you have Protestant necromancers, and arguably, I guess they're the Protestants. They're the ones who went over to. They sailed across the sea to found the undead nation of Lacuna, I guess. So yes, there are vampires particularly in Mesomasca. There's not been a lot up here because they would have been routed or destroyed by the very aggressive Dragonborn. So really, Mesomasca has a variety of them that are, I guess, more civil, or they're working with, or even the Shadowhar are working for or under these undead. But we're talking like more like raising zombies and skeletons out of graveyards to do stuff, and we're talking about conversion to vampirism and such, and who knows what's gone on in the actual dragon graveyard itself if you have a bunch of these very potent necromancers that have branched off. So primarily here, there's rumored activity among the volcano as well, but to say that the undead don't like lava that's also like gnomes don't like lava too, but that doesn't mean that gnomes are undead unless they are.
I mean, really.
Mesomasca still has the Cabal, is still working with the Shadowhar visitors. In Lacuna, that's the big thing. Lacuna is getting a little bit, they're kind of like Kandor, they're not getting a lot of this like winter corridor blast of weather coming in from the southeast. But it's also just very pastoral, very laid back area. So honestly, the biggest change for them is succumbing to this ever-growing cult of undead that is growing and spreading here. Because everyone is distracted elsewhere, and Lacuna is just sleepy little Lacuna down there. Who cares? There is an Imperial presence. It's also off the map, and it's by where Kandor and Lacuna come close for that inlet to our Mediterranean Sea. And it's just a safe checkpoint to make sure that any Kandor forces don't besiege the ships. Which, by the way, I'm sorry, the one thing I forgot to mention about Kandor, they are rumored to actually have an airship of their own. They're the only Mesotopian nation known to actually have one. It's flying a Kandor flag, although it has a particular build to it. And Professor, it sounds like what they did is they got the wreckage that was in the north that you had originally explored. They got the wreckage from that, maybe took down a couple other more modern ships, and they actually cobbled together a Kandor, like a Kandor Dragonborn airship as well. And of course, we're not counting the Repentless because that belongs to no nation.
Yeah, that belongs to Seltur,
yeah.
And Seltur is Seltur.
But that has been an enforcement, like that's been a major concern among the other nations because it is bringing another dimension to combat, and it's also it can also harry the ships. But anyway, so this is the western part of Mesotopia. Let's get up and take a 10 or 15 minute break, use the restroom, get a snack or a drink, and when we come back, the eastern half, unfortunately, will be a little easier to explain. There's not exactly complex, intricate webs of politicking going on, but we'll get to it. Anyway, for all of you out there, let's take a break, get up. You will have some nice break music on. and then we'll come back and continue as the party's learning about what's going on, and they're forming plans about where to go, who to talk to, what to do, etc.